Hi guys, and welcome to these advanced Photoshop tutorials. My name is Manny and welcome to our new series of Photoshop tutorials. In these new posts we're going to talk more about advanced stuff, so if you're still very new to Photoshop, please fall back in the blogs and have a look on all the beginner stuff that we did in the past. Okay, so in today's tutorial, as you guys can see, the image right in front of me is a beautiful lady called Samantha Lauren Kay, which is a makeup artist and a local model from Cape Town, and this image was sponsored by Cass Photography. She's also a local beauty photographer, so take a minute and have a look at her work. Alright, yeah, so as you guys can see, I do have this image from her, and what I want to show you guys now, in the first video, I have to try and keep these videos quite short because we don't have a lot of time. I want to show you guys pretty much how I fly some hairs that are going in here. So pretty much just some other hairs like these small ones up here. As you guys can see, this one, that one, this one, this one. So I want to show you guys a quick technique how I retouch this, and yeah, let's get going. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do with this image basically is just create a help layer quickly. I'm just going to create a new layer down here and rename that to help layer. So basically this layer is just there to help us, to guide us a little bit to see what we want to retouch and where do we have to work. Okay, I'm quickly just with my brush going to select a red foreground color so we can just see a nice sketch here. Okay, zoom in a little bit, and I'm just going to start really roughly. So first off, I want to tackle this here, I want to tackle this here, all of these hairs, those hairs here on the side, then also here, over here, these small hairs. I want to tackle this here, that here, all of these small hairs. So basically what I'm doing now is just creating a help layer for myself to see, okay, this is what I want to retouch, and this is what already points out when I'm zoomed out completely. So I want to retouch that, I want to fly all of these hairs later, we want to fix this, then I also want to try to fix this a little bit. In here I want to try to fix this, and I want to even try to get a nice straight line over here so that all the hair is nice and straight. Okay, over here is a little bit more hair, and over here. Okay, zoom out a little bit again, and that's basically my first step that I wanted to do, is just create a help layer so I know exactly, okay, this is my guidelines and I need to keep on working on those things. Okay, so I'm gonna just blend this layer out. I'm quickly on my original layer, create a duplicate with Command J. For my Windows friends, Control J, and then we're going to rename that to retouch layer. So the reason why we're going to rename that to retouch layer is if we do mistake, we can always fall back onto this layer and just duplicate from here again. Okay, next step that I'm going to do is create another layer and call this layer the cloning layer. I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller over here so we got to see a little bit more of all the layers. A little bit smaller. Okay, double click on here and we're going to call this cloning layer. Cloning layer, okay, and then we're going to create another layer called healing layer. Okay, healing layer. Okay, there we go. Always try to keep everything nice and neat and with a name. Okay, then we're going to select both layers, Command G to put that in a group, and we're going to call this group healing and cloning, H and C. Okay, gonna open that layer again, and now on my cloning layer, I'm currently working on the cloning layer. We've got our help layer at the top, so I can still blend that in and out if I want to. On my cloning layer, I'm going to pretty much just start with the cloning tool and clone out all these small hairs. But now I'm not just going to clone with my cloning tool just over it. I'm going to set my cloning tool, just going to press S here to get into the cloning mode. I'm going to set my cloning opacity, or my blending options actually, to darken. So as you guys can see here at the top, set it to darken. Opacity stays the same, flow stays the same. Then over here I don't want to have it to current layer, I want to set it to all layers, so select that, and I'm also going to select my pen pressure sensitivity because I'm working with a continuous 4 board again, and I'm also able via my board, via my wheel, to really quickly change my wheel size here again. Sometimes it happens that you can't really see the brush size. That is because your Alt or actually caps lock is on, so you have to just press caps lock and you out of that mode and you can see your brush again. Then in CS5 again, I'm working in CS5. I know this works from CS4. You can press Alt and Control together, and then you can just get your brush size over here and also the feathering. So I'm going to feather my brush size a little bit and make it way smaller. So it's super small, say around 15, even smaller, say 6 or 8%. Okay, now I'm going to zoom in even closer. You can also use Z to zoom in. And now I'm going to fly all these small hairs. So pretty much what I'm going to do is again hold Alt and sample an area very close to it. And then I'm just going to paint very quickly over it and sample all these bright areas away. So this actually works just with all the bright areas. If you're working with dark areas, this won't work on a blending option just with darken mode. So you will have to change your blending options there. Now bear in mind one more thing, if you do this just work in the directions of the patterns and textures, you can't really work horizontal, work vertical, and work with the flow, how the hair is going. So try to work like that. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit, and a little bit over here, and a little bit more. So I'm working very close in this image now, so if I'm not precise or 100% precise, don't worry, nobody will really see this. Okay, but still try to keep it very precise. I'm actually going to take my brush size even lower to 3%. Okay, over here also this, just a few streaks over there. And this is basically what I'm going to do now for the next few minutes actually. So all the hairs that you basically see and that I want to fly out, that's the only technique that I'm using. Changing my brush size a little bit and just trying to cover up all these really bright spots over here and whatever stands out. So one more technique that I also always do is, if while you're busy actually, please zoom out and have a look, and if something irritates you, retouch that. If that's all good, then you zoom in again and you start again from the top or wherever you were. You can turn on your help layer to just see, okay, this is what I still need to fix. So I'm still in a bit of trouble, I still need to fix a lot around here. So back in my cloning layer, you can also, if you want to, keep your help layer on. Sometimes it's a bit distracting, so I don't want to do that. Okay, it's also going to create a bit of a problem because we have created here, or we selected all layers. So just blend this one out and do it over. Okay, on my cloning layer again. Now I'm just going to do this for a little bit of time. Okay, over here and a little bit more. Okay, fly that, and over here get a little bit of that dark part. Okay, so basically I'm just going to fast forward this video now a little bit, and basically I'm just going to do all of this technique the whole time. Okay, as you guys can see, I'm still busy with this. Basically what I just want to say quickly is, while you're busy with this, also Control Z is your best buddy in this technique, because you have to go back and forth all the time. If you do a mistake, you have to fall back and then you just press Control Z. So yeah, let me just continue with this and I'll be with you in a minute. Okay, so as you guys can see, I retouched quite a lot now just on my cloning layer, and I retouched all these small little hairs that are in between of the hair, and I just wanted to get rid of these hairs. I can actually see there's a little bit of this hair as well, so I'm just going to retouch that a little bit. And as you guys can see, I also filled up some spaces a little bit, but most of what I actually did was just retouching a little bit on these flying hairs, or on these hairs that are actually in between, and yeah, just wanted to get rid of that. Okay, so now off to our next layer that we're actually going to work is our healing layer. I'm just going to turn off my help layer again and zoom in here a little bit closer. So as you guys can see currently, this hair over here, it will be a bit difficult to get this out with the cloning tool. So that's why I'm doing it with cloning and healing together. So let's get started with the healing brush. So I'm going to take my healing brush over here, change my blending mode to the normal option, and also assign all layers, okay, and then hold Alt again, and very close to an area I'm just going to sample from there with one long stripe over there, and just going to paint various little small streaks over there again, fly this here a little bit, okay, and over here. Now just watch out, if the closer you get to these other hairs, you have to work very close and very careful with that. Okay, a little bit over here and a little bit over there, okay. And now what I mostly do when I do this is I'm looking for patterns. So if I see this pattern, then I'm going to go over here and just sample a bit over here, select that pattern again and sample that a little bit, sample this a bit. Okay, that was bad, so Command Z, just go back again, sample that a bit. Okay, bad again, so we're going to go over here. Okay, I won't get it really 100% right. Then over there, I'm just going to sample that, and with small streaks just going to sample that all the way. Okay, a little bit down here, sample that, and again with the flow. Okay, over here going to sample this, and over here. Okay, that looks good to me. Okay, then over the side I want to fly this a little bit, so I'm going to turn my brush size up a little bit again, select an area very close, and just paint this out, paint that out. Okay, and that's pretty much what I'm going to do now for the next minute. Just with the healing brush very close, look for an area, and just going to try to fly all these other areas. And then I'm painting with streak, just trying to get rid of those. We later on going to add a little bit of noise and also going to blur this a little bit so it won't be that visible that much. Okay, over here the same effect. Okay, and as well. And if you did a mistake a little bit, then you can always just break that edges again, as you guys can see here. So I'm breaking that a little bit again. And over here, and over there. Okay, break that a little bit. Okay, next step over here. That's still on our healing layer. Okay, and go down a little bit more. Okay, break that again. Over here. Okay, break those. Like I said before, we're going to blur this a little bit so it won't be visible that much. If you have a super high quality texture there, you will have to do this very, very carefully. You can't do it like I'm doing it, very sloppy at the moment, so that you will have to do very, very precise. Okay, over here, and then we're going to fly this here, all of this out. Okay, and we're going to fly this, and yeah, basically I'm just going to do this for the next few minutes. This has to be retouched way, way better. This is very bad, as you guys can see on my healing layer. So what I'm going to do now is just with my healing layer going to fix this a bit. Okay, and here, as you guys can see, there is not a high quality texture, so I can actually do this. I'm going to take my brush size even lower. Okay, and then just go with the paint. Okay, still not that perfect, but it works. Okay. Then as well I can see another hair actually going over here, so I'm going to go back to my cloning layer, back to S with my cloning stamp, and do exactly the same thing again. Just paint very small streaks over here. Okay, and it looks actually good. Okay, now I'm going to zoom out a little bit again, and basically you can see already we fixed all of these small hairs around here. That should actually be fixed even further. So, and I still have to fix all of this. Before the tutorial gets too long, let me quickly finish up with this. And then I'm going to go take you to the next technique. On my cloning layer again, just make my brush size a little bit bigger, and I'm going to clone this in all of this. Just watch out there, getting closer to the skin there. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to make the brush size a bit smaller. Okay, going to make this a bit bigger over here. Okay, and now we're going to zoom out a little bit more. And as you guys can see, this is our, okay, going to go and make this group a little bit smaller, and just going to blend it in and out to see already what we did with the hair and how we fixed this already a little bit with just cleaning up a little bit. So if you continue doing this for quite a while, and if you continue doing this with the hair over here, with the hair over here, and all these hairs over the side here, which I'm going to do now quickly. Okay, so I'm going to go on with the next steps, and I'm going to go back into my cloning layer here again and just zoom in very closely again, and I want to pretty much just fly these hairs a little bit. So back with S, going to change my brush size here a little bit again, and then just going to clone all of this out very close to it again, sample very close to it. So we're going to clean up this a little bit now again, but for that I'm actually going to go back to my healing layer over here, and then we're going to start working with the healing layer on here. Okay, over this, very small with a small brush actually. Okay, gonna zoom out a little bit again, just see our before and after, before, after, before, after. Okay, help layer. Yeah, we still wanted to fix that a little bit. Okay, then I'm still going to fix this a little bit, but first off I want to fix all these hairs here on the side. Okay, back in our healing layer, yeah, that's right, and zoom in over here. Very close again, back with J into our healing tool. Make my brush a little bit bigger, feather that a little bit more, because we're working with a lot of patterns here in the background now. So very close to that edge again, just paint it very slowly. Okay, zoom, make my brush size even smaller again. Okay, and then now with small streaks again, just brush that out, brush this out. And now pretty much these hairs around here, let me just turn on this, around here, you don't want to fix that, that still looks very natural. You just want to fix the hairs that are actually flying and around here, so just leave those hairs. It's mostly it suits actually your image a little bit to leave those hairs a little bit so it looks still natural and you don't have a clean nice cut there, so otherwise it will look a bit fake if you cut it off right there. Yep, okay, so we fixed that a little bit. We fixed these hairs over here. Let me just turn this on and off again to see, so you guys can see it a bit. It's not totally perfect here on the side. I will still have to work on this, but for now, to just show you what we did with the hair. Okay, I'm pretty not happy with this hair here at the top, so I'm going to zoom in here a little bit closer and fix this also a little bit more. Okay, zoom in over here, and with healing brush tool again, just fly this a little bit. Okay, and I'm actually going to take my brush size down a little bit again, fly this a little bit. Okay, zoom out a little bit more, and this is already pretty nice, looking pretty good. Turn it on and off, on and off. Okay, then I also want to still fix this here at the top. I want to fix all of these small hairs around here. So as you can see, if I turn my help layer on again, this hair, actually this hair, these hairs, I didn't cover all my hairs here in the help layer, but it already shows me a lot of them. Okay, back with my cloning tool, press S again, back on my cloning layer and press Alt again. I'm now very close to that area. You're just going to paint over here and sample that area actually. If it's not working that good, you're going to turn it back with Command Z. You're going to go back to healing brush and use your healing brush for that, which I would actually prefer. Work with your healing brush on here, and then you're just going to cover up all these small hairs. It's a bit of a work, but later on it will be worth the effort. Okay, then over here I also wanted to tackle all of these small hairs in there. So back to our healing brush tool and back to our healing layer, and then we're just going to sample these small areas. While we're at it, we can also take out these little bit bumps here. Okay, that looks good to me. Zoom out a little bit again and just see your before and after. Okay, over there, and then before and after, before, after, before, after. Okay, yeah, so basically that's my quick technique on how I retouch just on the hair and how I just clean up the hair. Next step that I'm going to show you guys in the next tutorial will be how we're going to fix these two holes in here, as you guys can see in there and there, how I'm going to fix that with a small another technique. I hope you guys learned something in this video tutorial. I hope you find it helpful. My name is Manny and thank you guys for watching. See you all next week in another tutorial. Bye bye guys.